millionaires wanted I don't know, introduction into real estate. And yeah, I'm happy you're giving a little presentation in the end. Just the last talk. I'll say after this presentation.
First of all, it's enough when I talk without the microphone.
Yeah.
I think my words are loud enough. First of all, I want to say thank you to Christoph for being here, because it is for Tabea and me an honor. We gained so many information from the platform and the community starting those. It was really amazing. And so we are very glad to be here to give you something back. So, as well as when you're really interested in real estate, I have some books, they are free of charge. So when you're really interested in, I can give one to you without earning money in this case, because I'm really happy to be here and telling you something about real estate strategies and about the secrets, how you can invest in real estate and make it very profitable. When I entered here the building, the first thing what I recognized was this beautiful furniture from 1912, and the second thing what I recognized was this moisture damage, the spots there on the white side. So I really know I'm a real estate guy, because I make it not with awareness, no, you recognize it. And that normally is what you have to learn to get the right mindset when you want to invest in real estate. So, real estate or investment is not very complicated. A lot of people think it's so complicated, but you know, when this guy is doing that, I think, it's possible for you as well to do it. And you really won't believe it, how easy it is, and today I will show you how easy it is to invest in real estate. So it's a nice quotation. 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate, and it's from Andrew Carnegie. He's not only a famous book writer, he was one of the richest guys at this time. And like McDonald's is doing, he owned his active cash flow with steel and such kind of investment, but to keep his fortune and to increase his property, he's doing it with real estate. So yeah, why is real estate investment so sexy? I can say it because it is for us a nice standard of living, and I hope it is for you as well. So I will show you how I make it. So first of all, I asked Christoph, what is the stuff I should present here? And he means the best idea were real estate strategies. And I would say the most important strategy is so-called the leverage effect. What is an investment strategy? An investment strategy guides an investor's action with respect to asset allocation. Strategies vary, of course, but they are based on individual goals, risk tolerance, and future needs for capital. Most of the long-term investors combine a kind of a buy and hold investment strategy. It means you buy something and rent it on long term, and you combine it with flips. Flips means you buy something for a lower price, put an added value on it, and sell it for a higher price. That's very easy as an idea. To make it precise, my personal goals are, I want to generate the maximum return on my invested capital. Second, I want a minimal risk. Third, I would like to use as little liquidity as possible. I want to return my invested capital as soon as possible. I prefer passive income, so-called earn money while I sleep peacefully. Thus, I'm a buy and hold investor. My return on asset is between 5 and 6%. It's not so high, but the risk is low. But my return on equity, that is really high, and is between 20 and 80%, and very often more. So the last criteria for investors always have a positive cash flow. That means that the basic rent you got is higher than the annuity loan, the credit, and the non-recoverable landlord's cost. That is a cost you cannot postpone to your renter. In Germany, for example, fees for administration, fees for account management, and maintenance. What is the leverage effect? Leverage is any technique involving the use of borrowed money in the purchase of an asset with the expectation that the income from the asset will exceed the borrowing costs. In other words, as long as the return on asset is higher than the price of the borrowed money, you can improve the return on equity with taking a higher percentage of borrowed money. Normally, the finance provider would set a limit on how much risk it is prepared to take, and will set a limit on how much leverage it will permit. For example, for a residential property, the finance provider may lend you up to, say, 80% of the property market value. For commercial property, it may be 70%, while on shares, it may you up maybe 60% or very often nothing. So leveraging enables gains and losses to be multiplied, but to make it precise. So here I have an example case. We buy a 2-room apartment, maybe for example in Bavaria, in Nuremberg, where I'm living. So the total cost of purchase are 100,000 euros and the basic rent are 5,000 euros, so it's easy to calculate. I use, in this case, 100% equity capital. So when I pay 100 and got 5,000, then it's logic, I have 5% interest. But now it comes, what the leverage effect is doing with us. In this case, I borrow 20%, and I take my own private equity, I take 20%, and I take 80% borrowed money. So this means when, for example, the interest rate is 2%, oh, here this is 0, sorry, then I have to pay 2% from 80,000 as an interest for the financial institution, for example, and I have to pay 1,600 euros as interest. So now I reduced my 5,000, what I got is a basic rent up to 1,600, and I got 3,400. So now I invested 20,000, I've got back 3,400, so my interest rate is 70%. Now we go further, because 70% is for a serial real estate investment really poor. So in general, that's the way of doing it. So not with the first apartment, but maybe with the third. You take nothing from your private equity. No, you take maybe that what you paid for the first two, and borrowed 100% of the 100,000. And then 2% from 100,000 is as well as 2,000 as the interest rate. Then you reduce, of course you have your 5,000 per year, up to the 2,000 what you have to pay for the money to the financial institutions, and you got 3,000. Now to make it calculable, because when I take here no money to put in, I have an infinitive interest rate or infinitive profitability, but in this case I take 1 year to calculate it. I got now 3,000, I put 1 euro in, so my interest rate is 300,000%. And that is the reason why such a lot of millionaires are real estate investors, because I think it's one of the only ways to get 300,000%, because it's a lot. But what makes real estate investment really so sexy? The second level, what we really have is, we have a high level of predictability. What does it mean? It goes according to the population development. As well as to make it precise, because I like it precise, because normally the devil is in the detail. So we take here Nuremberg as an example. The population development in Nuremberg, it started around the 14th century up to today. You see always it goes up. Then it's very easy. In Germany, everything, of course, is counted, as well as the population and the population development and the future developments. Maybe in metropolitan towns like Nuremberg, it is the urbanization what's count. You have the refugees influences, and as well as other influences. You see here the development of the population. In 2012 it was 4,000. In 2020 you have 516,000, and so on and so on. For a real estate investor, it's enough that the development of the population is in the minimum stable, because we are long-term investors. No, we don't speculate, we don't need an increase, a dramatically one. It's enough when we got our monthly rent. Then we are satisfied. But it's really important to have at least a stable one, but when we have a positive development, then we have not only the 300,000% as a profitability, we have an extra, and this extra means the increase in the value of the real estate you invested. So it's much more than that. So we have here side effects which are not integrated in this source from the Bertelsmann Stiftung because there's no the refugees influence are not inside. In Nuremberg we have 8,000 refugees per year extra. Nuremberg starts now as one of the last cities to create their own university with 15,000 students, but we don't know where they should live because in general Nuremberg built, I think, around 2,000 apartments per year. So the future is so great predictable because when a lot of people want to live there and need apartments and there's only a few offer, the prices increase not only for the rents as well as for the prices for the apartments. So real estate is so sexy because everybody would love it, like in the mining industry, when the courses would be predictable. But in the real estate, you really have this, because there are only long-term calculations. Yeah, another reason is real estate is not only an investment, it is more kind of a micro-business or a hybrid between investment and a business. To make it precise, why it is? It's easy, because low risk means you have a high influence on all the factors. When you have no influence and no possibility to affect on your own the development, then the risk is high. But with real estate, there are three big factors. The one is the renter selection. So through a small selection of your renters, because the renter is your only income you have, you can really decrease dramatically the risk of losing money. The second one is the object selection, because it's on you to buy something or not. So the thing is to put the good cake and not the bad ones. And the third one, you can make the financing like you want to. So you can construct it, that you have a positive cash flow, and that it goes hand to your personal goals. So at the end, you have a low risk system with high profitability. So a perfect fit or interplay makes normally the differences. And there are only three factors, it's not so much. So as well as when you want to be successful as a real estate investor, really important is the successful mindset. What does it mean? It means that you have to be a paranoid guy, respectively all the information you get. The biggest, I would say, the highest danger is normally the real estate agent or the seller who tell you stuff that is not correct. But in real estate, it's very easy to inform yourself and find everything out for yourself. When the real estate agent tells you, yeah, this is a new region and the development is really perfect, then you can go normally to the city statistics and ask for that if it's true or not. But when you don't ask, you are an idiot. So really important is be a paranoid according to all the information you get and check them. Because with checking them, it means to control, so can you reduce your risk dramatically. And the second thing is, you have to be proactive. So when you don't find, or the first apartment is not yours, then search as long as it's possible to find the right one. It's a little bit like selling. You know, not every customer is buying. Try maybe 50 apartments to find one, but this one brings you 300%. And it's only a thing of durability, to be tough in this. So the next thing what makes real estate investment so sexy is that you only need a low knowledge base necessary to start. It is maximum on the level of a driver license, I would say. It's really so easy because there are only three factors. And it's really easy really to keep in control of these factors. When you read a book about how to rent, you know how to elect and write renter. Only when you're stupid and listen to lies and not check it, then you can be a victim. So check everything, be a paranoid. So to make it precise, one thing book and you can start immediately. Of course, a little promotion, I think it's okay. But I have it today for you for free, so it's not a real promotion. So when you want one, because it's an Amazon bestseller for real estate, and I think when you put the keyword Immobilien at Amazon, my book is at the first or the second place. So now it's here for you for free. So to make a long story short, leverage effects gives you a high profitability. The high level of predictability of the population is very nice because you know how your real estate will do it in the future. And you can manage it and have an high influence, so according to that you can control everything. That doesn't mean that you have to be a control freak, but it means you have to be a little bit paranoid according to the information you get. You can reduce the risk dramatically. And you need only a low knowledge base necessary to start. So if you understand the beauty of real estate investment, you will find it difficult to invest in other assets. So I have some principles for you. And it really takes a lot of time and experience to find this out. So never ever buy something with a sustainable negative cash flow. That means when you buy an apartment and the rent is lower as the credit you have to pay and the auxiliary expenses, that is a bad investment. You know, in Germany I would say it's eine Schrottimmobilie. It's very easy because when you finance it maybe for 10 years, you have to pay 10 years long every month something extra. It's not something what is good, it is absolutely bad. So never ever buy something with a negative cash flow. The second one is, if you want to use a buy and hold term investment strategy, invest never ever in areas with a negative population development. Because in Germany, for example, we have both. We have areas where the demand for apartments is higher than the request, and we have the opposite. It depends where you are. So we have really empty apartments areas, nobody wants to live because there are no working places. And on the other side, we have areas everybody wants to live, and there we have no apartments, and that is the place to be. So never ever with negative population developments, or never ever in areas dominated with an industry monopoly. For example, I would never ever invest in Ingolstadt because Ingolstadt is dominated from Audi, and when Tesla will win the race, I thank to God to get the apartments free of charge because nobody wants to live there because it's not nice to live there. And you have to wait very long to get what you invested back. So if you want to flip, so buy and sell real estate, then the short-term demand for real estate is more important than the population development. So make it precise. E.g., flip in East Germany, cities, because there the short-term demand for a nice place to live is very high, but then after that, keep your money and invest in B cities in West Germany, because normally the headquarters are not in the eastern, I would say, part of Germany. They are normally in the western part of Germany. And when you have a crisis, you know, normally your subsidies are hurt, but not the headquarters so much. So you can reduce risk if you invest in areas you know, and vice versa. It's easy when you are maybe living in Wien, in Vienna, then you know here the places, and you know the places where you want to live in. But when you want to invest, for example, in, at the moment, I don't know, in Rostock, I was never before in Rostock, I don't know which is a nice place to invest or not, so make it easy for yourself. Never ever believe in salespeople. Invest like a paranoid disbeliever, so don't believe something. Always when you believe, you increase your risk. That maybe the teller of the story has only a vision, but it's not true. So be careful with that. And be engaged like a proactive marathon runner, because not the sprinter, you know, the short-term runner wins the race, but normally the marathon runner on the long one, which makes a big profit. Money flows always from the impatient to the patient. That is really important, you know. People, I want to invest now. Wow, I search for something. That is really a weak strategy, because when there is nothing to invest, then wait or search for another place or a better opportunity. But sometimes, and it doesn't matter how engaged you are, it makes no sense to invest. I've heard the story that, I think it was Warren Buffett, doesn't invest for 10 years. And their shareholder blamed him for that. But he mentioned, yeah, but now it's nothing, he has nothing to invest. And then it's better to make nothing. So, the last one, no surprises, no surprises, no surprises. So think before you start. Think about all the possibilities, what could happen. And find answers to that. Because then, nothing is for you a surprise. And when it's calculated inside your investment, you can reduce your risk dramatically. So I think, thank you very much for being here. I hope you enjoyed a little bit what I'm saying. And when you are a real estate investor, you absolutely know what I meant, because that are normally the problems. And I wish you a lot of great aha moments here at the conference. Thank you very much.